Hello everyone! How are we today? I'm sorting my hair out. It's very likely that Coco is going to be coming and joining us today. She's just literally there. Oh, this is a bit wonky, isn't it? Let's see if we can get that. Ooh. Ooh. Can't really see what I'm doing there, can we? Lower that down a bit. No, still can't see what I'm doing. Let's raise it up. Sorry, guys. And then, is that better? Yes, and then it just looks a wee bit wonky. So I'm a little bit flustered because I was putting Jasmine down for her nap, as you know, we're into a real routine now, getting down and ready for these sew-alongs, and I fell asleep. Hello, Oli. Yeah, I fell asleep. Just trying to see if I can get more. Oh! Hi, guys. Sorry, getting a real close-up of me here. Oh, my goodness me. What is going on today? Sorry, guys. Hi, everybody. Oh. Getting it. This tripod. It's wonky, isn't it? Definitely wonky. Oh well, let's just try one more thing. And then I'm going to stop. Okay. It is what it is. I don't think you can see that much of the table, but we'll alter it later on. So we're here today, guys, to make our tangerine trousers. Which are these? Let's see who's here. It's Carol from Leeds. Hello. I've already seen Lorianne pop up. Hello. From Oregon, and Rosie is here with us from the Sew Over It team, guys, to answer your questions if you have any whilst I'm sewing. Wow, we've got someone from Minsk in Belarus. That's amazing. Hi, Polly. Oh, someone's making another bilberry. Hi, Jill. So yesterday when I was doing my sew along, we realised there's quite a few people that are sewing along. Oh, Coco. Here she comes. I told you. This is Coco. Who are sewing. So, not what you want to cheer you up today. Coco, turn around. Hello from Switzerland. So yes, people are sewing along doing other projects. They're not necessarily making what I'm making, but just sewing in company is quite nice. It's a bit like we're all in a little sewing cafe together. I still haven't managed to make myself a cup of tea for one of these sessions. It's such a rush. Oh yeah, I was in the middle of saying. So today, when I was putting Jazzy down for her nap, so I basically, where we are now, she has her cot next to my bed, and the quickest way of getting her to sleep for her nap is just to let her sleep in my bed. So I lie next to her and we have a cuddle, and I fell asleep. It's been my fear since doing this that might happen. It happened today. I fell asleep. So, and then I was like, oh, I've got 5 minutes. Anyway, I made it. Oh, hello, Nadine from Virginia. Right, guys. So what we are doing today are some little tangerine trousers from Poppy and Jazz. Now, I quickly whizzed these up this morning because I wanted to check that they fit Jazzy, because our pattern for our tangerine trousers does only go up to 0 to 24 months. Now, if you're new and don't know about our Poppy and Jazz collection, this is one of our patterns. The Poppy and Jazz collection launched after I had my daughter Jasmine, and it's named after Poppy, my dog, and Jasmine, my daughter. Coco didn't exist at the time, so we might have to create a brand after her. But yeah, the first collection was just a digital collection of patterns, and it now involves printed patterns as well, which our stock is also stock, so you can get them all over the world. We obviously do sell them all on our online shop, and soon I will be getting the online shop up and running. Rosie has now just put a link to the full range there. So yeah, Rosie, just I think the link to the full range isn't quite right in the description, so after this video we will make sure that the right one is in there. I don't think Rosie can edit it whilst we're live. So I haven't done any cutting out because I was making these to check that they would work first. So the tangerine trousers you can see here, there's an option to have them, or maybe it's best if we look at this, an option to have them with little feet on for crawlers, or for for non-crawlers or for walkers, then you can do, you can have it there without the feet. So I have a non-crawler. Jasmine is almost 3. And these do go up to 0 to 24 months. Jasmine is probably wearing size 3 to 4 at the moment. So what I did is I wanted to see if they could be made bigger and how easy that would be. So I could then tell you guys if you have anyone that you want to make them for who's older than 2 years. So what I did is I cut out, well, the first thing I did is I lay on the pattern some existing, some of her leggings. And the Tangerine trousers are actually meant for babies to be quite loose and not too tight, because they don't want to be in too tight of restrictive clothes. But obviously for toddlers and older, they want to be in things that are a little... You've got to see this. Sorry. Yeah, you're not going to last there, Coco. But yeah, for toddlers, they need to be in, leggings is a bit more practical. So what I did is I laid on these leggings onto the pattern, and actually, because our Tangerine trousers are roomier, the actual width of the 0 to 24 months was absolutely, of 2 years old, of 18 to 24 months was fine. And then I did actually have to taper them to make them more into leggings, and obviously lengthen them as well. So there's the 0, where is the, there it is. That line there is for 18 to 24 months, and you can see I've extended it that much. So I made sure that I extended it the same length on both sides, and the way you can do that is you can just lay them over and get at the crotch seam here. Just make sure that they are measuring the same length, which they were. And then on the waistband, it was actually fine, because this stretches a lot more than the band on this. So depends on, I mean, I really do think you do need a nice stretchy cotton jersey, but that's great. And what I love about the design of these Tangerine trousers, and why I designed them, is because I have a lovely toddler who's got a nice little toddler belly. And toddler bellies, as you know, they have sort of stick out little things. And I often find that the waistbands that are like that dig into them. So this was designed to be more comfortable for them. And also it means you can really tuck their tops in, which is also really good, especially at the moment. Jasmine, if I haven't tucked her top in, she gets cold when we're outside. So yeah, really pleased with those. So anyway, let's cut them out together, because I haven't done that. But they are such a quick little make. So I made these out of a real scrap. I had a Edie top, I think. It was an Edie top that I made for myself out of this fabric. And I had some left over, and I managed to cut that out. So, I mean, less than ½ a metre. So I'm going to I've got a massive amount of this, which is some cherry fabric that we had from our launch of our Audrey top, but it's got a missed hole in it. Sometimes when you buy fabric, it has a massive hole in it. I can't remember what it is in the manufacturing process. They've explained it to me before. It's almost like a test. I don't know, but anyway, it's very annoying. So we've got this big piece of fabric, so I can just cut around it. So going back to just a little bit of spiel, so I obviously told you about Poppin' Jazz collection. If you're new here and you haven't heard of us, so over it we have all sorts of patterns for women, and we also have a couple for men as well. So yeah, we have a collection of over 100 dressmaking patterns. It's amazing how many we have now, and they're all digital, so they can all be bought and instantly printed off at home if you want to have a stab at them. And at the moment we've got a really full schedule for the next couple of weeks of live sew-alongs with myself, sewing our patterns or other projects, all different skill levels, beginners to more intermediate. We've got stuff I'm doing for children on a Monday. The full schedule is linked below in the description, and I'm sure shortly Rosie will be putting a link up to it, so you can find that on our website and you can see what we've got coming up next week. So you can't really see what I'm doing. I'm going to try again. Is that a bit better? Yes, you can now, yay. So I'm gonna cut out these trousers. You can see here, this is, can you see it? Oh, Coco's there. Let me see if I roll it back, if you can see more of her. It's okay, Coco. No, she's literally there. Do I need to put, oh no, I need to push it the other way. No, what way would I, no, I would push it that way. No, we can't see Coco. That's really annoying, Coco. You could have like slept a bit further along and then everyone could have seen you. So let's look at what pattern pieces we're cutting out for this. This is the version 2, the one without this little socks. We are cutting out a pair of the fronts and a pair of the backs, and we're cutting one on the fold of the waistband. So I'm going to just make sure that my grain line, which is this line down here, is parallel to my selvage. I've got 2 layers of fabric together, so I can cut my pair at the same time. So as I was saying, loads of things for you, and all of these sessions are free. We wanted to make sure that everybody and anyone can have a go from wherever they are in the world and cheer them up in this weird time, give you something to do every lunchtime in the week. But we also are obviously worried about our business, so we have popped a link to a donation page, so if you can afford to donate and give us something towards this video, will be much appreciated. And also thank you to those of you who have already donated. Your support means a lot to us. And some of you have been with me every day this week, and it's so lovely to see your names pop up and me to see that you're there with me. This is keeping me going, guys, as well as keeping you going, I hope. It's giving my day a lovely structure, and it makes me feel like I'm hanging out with a lot more people than I actually am. So what I love about the Poppy and Jazz range is that if you're a dressmaker already, then it is super speedy little things, and also great for your stash busting, because it uses such small amounts. If you are new to sewing and you haven't done any dressmaking, they're also really good projects to start out on, because they're so simple and they're really, oh, thank you, Kim, and they're really, yeah, easy to follow. The booklets, so these are actually normally not printed, this pattern. It's not in our printed collection, but the illustrations are the same, and you can see really, really clear illustrations done by our wonderful Nicole, and lots of writing, lots of steps. So Sewover, we're quite different from other pattern companies in that we come from a teaching background. So when I first set up Sewover, it was primarily to teach people how to sew in workshops in London. And the business has changed enormously since I set it up in 2011. But the purpose was to A, teach as many people as possible how to sew, and B, to show people that dressmaking was not for grannies. And even if you were a granny and you were dressmaking, it wasn't the kind of stigma that everyone said it was. You know, it is a wonderfully creative process. You can be a designer yourself in that you can make all the clothes that you want, in the fabrics that you want, in the styles that you want, and they can fit you. And yeah, I wanted to break that stigma, basically. So and through the kind of, as the business has developed, it's mainly all about women's patterns, but we have done the Hackney shirt and the Hebden T-shirt for men as well, and also the pyjamas you could do as well. And you can now do stuff for children, because I'm aware that not everyone wants to make stuff for themselves, and this is a really nice project for mums, new mums at home as well, or dads, making quick little things for their children. And I know we get a lot of messages from mums to be that, like, they're in the month before their baby comes and they're on maternity leave and they're just literally sewing up millions of tangerine trousers. Right, you notice that I used a ruler to make sure that my grain lines were parallel. It's just because I don't know where my tape measure is, but it worked fine. Okay, right, cutty outie, shush Mr. Iron, or Bob, whatever we're calling him. We had a bit of a chat yesterday, guys, about what we're going to call him. Are we going to call him Bob? Are we going to call him Mr. Iron? I agreed that we'd call him both. So, guys, here in the UK, I think we're getting some really amazing weather this weekend. Is it Sunday that it's going to be really lovely? Or is it a bit further on in the week? I can't remember. I mean, someone in this household, so that would probably be mum or dad, was saying that it is going to be up to 18 degrees. So excited about that. And how much that will raise all of our spirits. Just, yeah. I'm thinking, can I set up, I don't think I can set this up outside because of the Wi-Fi, but I think I could do some of my own sewing outside in the sunshine. I think that will do us all a world of good. Or I could actually start reading a book. I haven't read a book since, well, I took one on a little girls' trip I went on recently with my friends, but I didn't even open it. So I haven't read a book since before Christmas. Just not time, and I'm not one of those people that reads before I go to bed. Because by the time I hit the bed, my head hits the pillow, I am exhausted, and I don't even need anything to wind me down. I fall asleep very quickly. I'm such a busy person. I think that's probably a positive of that. But I do tend to wake up early. Jasmine's helped with that lovely body clock change. But since the clocks have gone forwards, we are into a better pattern. She goes to bed a little bit later, but she is waking up at 6:30, which makes such a difference. Anything before 6 a.m. is painful. Anything after 6 a.m. I can deal with. So, yes, I'm really hoping that she won't get onto the new time and we can just keep her on that. Oh, someone's a short story writer. Oh, yeah, that would be good for me. Short stories. Oh, thank you. Right, okay. So we have now cut those bits out. We'll do the notches in a second. Now I'm going to cut this out. So this is the waistband and it's cutting one on the fold. Now, where is my fold? It's there. So I'm just going to turn that way. It's a bit easier and then all the extra fabric is there. How fun are these going to be with cherries on? Jasmine, I might even try and convince her that they're apples because she's obsessed with apples, and call her apple trousers. She's at that stage now where she's becoming a bit difficult to dress, and there's got to be a lot of bribing to get her clothes on. Even if she chooses her outfit, it's still the same. She just knows that I want her to put her clothes on, and she wants to just not put them on because she knows it will annoy me. It's a battle of the wills. And my daughter is strong-willed like I am, so it depends how tired I am and whether she wins or I win. Oh, that said, she always does have clothes on. She's just not just walking around naked. Some days, because I just can't face it. Some days a sweet or the iPad has been involved to get her to put her clothes on. Hi, Coco, do you want to come and say hello? Come on. No, she'll come probably. On her own terms, because that's what cats are like. I don't know where Poppy is today. Maybe she's upstairs on Jasmine's bed with her. I've done a little tour of where our room that we were staying in here, and I'm going to be putting it up on the Lisa Comfort Home channel at some point, on the Instagram channel. Because it is so lovely. My parents live in a converted barn, so it's quite unusual in its layout. And at the end, there is an extra little barn that now connects with the kitchen, but it's like its own little apartment. So I've done a little tour because I had a massive reorganise and rearranged it all. But it looks out onto the garden and it's got the best, it's the room with the best view in the house. So nice. We're very lucky. And what's great is that we've got a bit of privacy. Or not, I mean, and not really for us, but for mum and dad. I could just take Jasmine off and they can pretend that they're not living with a 2-year-old for an indefinite amount of time. Right, okay, that's that. But I actually, this weekend, I do have the weekend off. Oh, it sounds like Poppy's outside. I have the weekend off in that. Matt is coming up from London to be with Jasmine for a couple of days, so they're going to go off and have a little break in a friend's house that's empty at the moment. So we managed to sort that out. So it means that I get a lion, which is very exciting. Oh yes. So more dramas in York regarding the animals. Dramas that we had the other day was that Coco had started catching things. So I don't think I told you what I was doing then. I was cutting my notches. Sorry guys. Just snip into your triangles. Don't go beyond the point and just do a little snip. You don't need to cut the whole triangle out. So yeah, dramas in York. So yeah, Coco has caught a blue tip and also a little vole, which is very upsetting. However, Mum was on the phone to her friend the other day and screamed so loud because outside she saw a rat running along. Now we're out in the countryside, so it's a countryside rat, but even so, you don't want rats, do you? So the rat man has come. He has come to hopefully help us with the rat problem. And Mum's like, this is all I need right now. Locked down with rats. But yeah, fair dues, Mum. Dad's like, I've had a word with Poppy and I'm going to get her to look for them. I was like, Dad, you do realise Poppy's a dog and also quite a pathetic dog in that regard. She's not a ratter. She's not a terrier like you know. But even so, I don't want her doing that. I don't want her going after rats. I don't want any of the girls going out for rats. Coco, when I start ironing, you are going to be in the way. I don't think she cares. Right, I'm getting the sewing machine up, guys. Oh, doesn't get any easier, that. And I haven't threaded it either. Haven't been prepared today, but we can do that together. Really is quite an easy, nice little project, this. So I'm going to pop my glasses on, guys, because the eyes are tired. Ooh. So yeah, I'm very excited this weekend about having loads of time to sew and watch Netflix at the same time. Someone's just asked if I need an overlocker to sew this. I think they did. I'm sure Rosie will be answering that, but I actually sewed the other pair up on my overlocker. And I'm going to sew this one up on a sewing machine because I think it's important to show that you don't need to have an overlocker. It's only if you've got one, you could use it, but if you like the finished look of an overlocker on the inside. But I find the overlocking stitching isn't, I don't know, I just feel like it's not as good as strong. So even with a 4-thread overlocker. Right, let's wind our bobbin. Wind your bobbin up, wind your bobbin up, pull, pull, clap, 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 wind it back again. I don't know why I'm singing that, because that used to be Jasmine's favourite nursery rhyme and it drove me up the wall. Oh, Coco. Coco loves watching this. Loves watching a bobbin go. Yeah, don't you, Coco? As long as she doesn't get involved and try to attack it. So, update on my house as well. I will be talking more about that on the Lisa Comfort Home Instagram account, but my house in London. So those of you that don't know, I've moved out of the family house because Matt and I are getting divorced. But I have bought another little house in Walthamstow. So I was living in Hackney in East London, and now Walthamstow is just a bit further north and east. And a little 2-bedroom Victorian terrace house. It's very sweet. It does need quite a bit of love, not structural love, but it's needs, like, there's woodworm in the they found in the wood in some of the floorboards, so we're getting those replaced and the woodworm treated. And it needs rewiring, so that's happening at the moment. And a lot of the plastering has also, I think they say the plastering has blown, so I'm having to get not all the walls plastered, but some of them, and all the radiators are really old. So it's basically getting, at the moment, it's getting the kind of the essentials done. And because it's an empty house, they're allowed to work. Ooh. I think it's just mainly just one person in there at a time. So the guy who's doing the job, he's sort of just organised it so he staggered them, which is great. And because they've got time to do it, because I'm not planning on going back there in April. So yeah, they're getting on. I mean, it's very hard because I want to just be there and see it. But he sends me videos and he sends me photos of things, which is always nice to see. So yeah, and all the boring stuff's happening at the moment, so it's not that visually exciting, but it'll be hard when they get onto more kind of decorative stuff that I'll be like, oh, I want to be there. But at least then, when it's done, I'll be able to move in. When this is all over, I'll be able to move in and it'll be done. Okay, right, onto some sewing, less waffle. Okie dokie dokie dokie. So, this is the waistband, which we're not going to need now. What we're going to do first is we're going to sew our inside and outside leg seams of our trousers. So we're going to take one of the trouser backs. Now the back is indicated by the double notch on the crotch seam. And we're going to take the corresponding front. And we are going to pin both the outer leg seam, so from the top down to the bottom, and then also the inside leg seam. So I wanted to do some more patterns for Poppy and Jazz this year, but given how everything's turned on its head a little bit, I don't know if I will. But what I was thinking, guys, I'm going to end up telling you all my secrets. What I was thinking is I'd really like to do some like traditional pajama, like a pajama set, because that's unisex. I thought it'd be really nice, and also such a nice thing that you could make for Christmas for people, for children. And I found it really hard to find nice traditional pajamas for Jasmine. There's lots of like jersey stuff, but not very nice, many kind of cotton, actual cotton pajamas. So I wanted to do that, and I also wanted to make a pattern from my duffel coat, which I had when I was 2 or 1, I can't remember, but Jasmine wore it as well for some time. And it's so sweet, it's so gorgeous. So I wanted to make a little duffel coat because I think that would work for children of quite a few ages as well. So, but I'm not promising it, guys, because I don't know if we're going to be able to fit that in given what's happening. But there's some good technical questions being asked here on the comments, guys. Do watch what is popping up, because Rosie will be answering those. Okay. Okay, I've done one leg. And if you see on that side, I've got the pins on that side, but then I flip them for there, because I'm always thinking about what side is going to be on the left and hanging off the machine, so that my pins are on the most convenient side of the fabric, because you don't want to be sewing with all the fabric bunched up here. Okay, and now go on to the next one and do exactly the same. We'll pin it all, do all our pinning and prepping. Okay. So I'm also, is everyone trying to do some exercise every day, or at least go for a walk outside? It is like, I didn't manage to have much time yesterday, so I just went for a 15-minute run, which seemed to me like it wasn't even worth it, but it did make a difference. It meant you know, ran a couple of miles. I felt like I'd, you know, done something, even if it was for 15 minutes. And then my mum had bought, she's been going to the gym just to keep fit. And obviously as she found out that this would be happening, she ordered some weights. So she's got these weights, and I think she wanted these 3 kilo weights. Ah, that's good, Lorianne. And yeah, so she's got these 3 kilo weights, but I think when she ordered them, she had to get like 2 and 1 kilo. Anyway, so I got in for my run, and the news was on because it was 5 o'clock or whatever, 5:30, and so I was like, oh well, I'll watch this. I'm all for multitasking at the moment because I don't have that much time. So I was like, oh, I'll watch this news briefing and I'll do some weights. Now, I haven't done weights for a long time. I think every so often, sporadically, I'd join a gym, and then, you know, you get shown round and you do a few weights. So I was like, well, I was doing reps of that with 3. What was I doing? I was doing it like that, I think. I was doing it like that, trying to stabilise. So I was just using that muscle. And then I also was doing that. Anyway, oh my goodness, I am so weak. I have literally no arm muscles. And you would have thought lifting a toddler up all the time, you might have gained some, but no. Anyway, so now I've got a new challenge. Try and get a bit of more strength in my arms. I did manage also to do a plank. So the plank was, it was always so hard, but I managed to do it for an hour, which for me is a long time. A long time. Okay, I've waffled my way through pinning that. We're ready to do some sewing. I just want to check the seam allowance. I'm pretty sure it's 1 centimetre, but let's just check. Yes, it is 1 centimetre. And I don't think... Yeah, I'm just going to do it with a straight stitch. Or should I do it with a zigzag? Probably should do it with a zigzag, it's easier, isn't it? I mean, and then you've got all the stretch. I mean, not all of the seams need the stretch in them, but I think it's probably best just to do a stretch stitch for this because, you know, they'll be pulling them on and off. So the best stretch stitch is a zigzag on a kind of standard machine, and then I'm going to put it on stitch length 1.5 and then stitch width 1. Okay, there we go. Oh. Okay, and then lining up with the number 10 on the base of the machine, because we are sewing 1 centimetre. Do a little reverse at the beginning. Take your pins out as you get to them. And away we go. And hope, oh, Coco's watching, she's absolutely fascinated. Quite noisy, sorry guys. I should try and not sew as quickly because we're certainly making good time, and I don't need to be sewing this fast. I was sewing up the trousers before and Jasmine was like, Mummy, no, it's too noisy, because I was using the overlock. I was like, Mummy, your work's too noisy. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, Jasmine, am I disturbing your work? It's like, she can just about cope with the noise of this machine. It was because she was watching something, and I think it was... Oh, we've just got caught there. Sometimes that happens. If you start too close to the edge with jersey, it can get caught underneath. So I'm just going to take that out and start a little bit further in, and then reverse back up to that. So next week I'll be in this slot, I'll be doing the Elm T-Shirt, which is a lovely little unisex T-shirt project with short sleeves or long sleeves for little ones. Jasmine, like myself, when we come out of this lockdown, will have a whole new wardrobe. And she, not she, yes, so, what was I saying? Oh yes, on that Friday. So on Good Friday, that's what I'll be doing. And then I'm going to pre-record a very special Easter make, which is a cotton bunny. Now, I used to make these for all my friends' babies when they were born, from quite a young age, actually. I used to make them. So obviously it would be not my friends' babies then, it would be cousins or new babies in the family. And it's basically, all you need is white cotton. So you could use, you don't even need it to be white. I mean, I think it'd be quite nice making one out of a tea towel. An old tea towel, like a checkered tea towel. Oh, that's just that. But I'm going to make one out of an old pillowcase here at Mum's. And I'm sorry that I haven't got one to show you because I haven't made one yet. But yeah, I'll make sure I'll put something up after the weekend because I'm planning on doing it at the weekend. But then hopefully it'll be time for you guys to make one up for any children for Easter Sunday. You might know somebody, if you don't have children yourself, or you know you can't get it to your grandchildren, maybe you can make it for someone nearby you and leave it on their doorstep. Little present from the Easter Bunny, because none of us are going to have the Easters we thought we were going to have, but maybe there could be a few little handmade bunnies around to brighten people's days instead. Ooh. I know I've certainly started eating as though it was Easter. My mum has bought pretty much half a newsagent's worth of chocolate. We call it our tuck shop. We have a Tockery basket full of like sweets and chocolate. And in the evening, I'm like, oh, shall I get the tuck shop out, Mum? Oh yes, Lisa, let's have a look. What shall we have tonight? We're trying to be quite restrained and not have too much. But yeah. Last night we had a Cadbury's caramel bar, which has 6 bars in it. Or bars, not 6 bars, 6 cubes. So we each had 2. After Jasmine went to bed. So yeah, we are being very restrained. Although I've hidden some, like a child, I've got some, I haven't hidden them, but I've got some sweets in my knicker drawer. Just because my knicker drawer, like my underwear drawer here is like in downstairs. And sometimes I need to have a sweet to get Jasmine to get dressed, as I was saying. And I've sort of hidden them in that drawer. And of course, every so often I might just go and have a little sneaky sweet myself. Because anything you open, any cupboard that you open from in front of a child in the kitchen, they know exactly what's in that cupboard and they'll be like, I want one. So sometimes as a mum, you've got to have these hidden cupboards where you can have a little treat. Okay, one more to go and then we're going to do some pressing. Now, you could, it would be easier for you to press this if you did like the inside leg seam or the outside leg seam first and then press that open and then did the then I pressed the seams open and then pinned it. But I've decided I'm going to make my life difficult because it just works out better for me if I'm doing this with you guys, just to kind of do the bits of sewing together. But if you're doing this at home, you don't have to do it like this. You can easily just do it in one seam at a time and then make your pressing easier. Ooh, come on! A bit of an issue there where they're not together. It should be okay. So if you have somebody who's older than Jasmine, you know, so bigger than size 3 to 4 clothes, I think you could still try and put them on and just see where they sit, because children don't actually get that much wider. I think certainly up to about age 6 or so, you probably would just get away with adding a little bit extra on for room and then lengthening. But generally, they're just getting longer and longer, aren't they, as they're getting older. So yeah, I don't think it matters that much that this pattern doesn't go up that far because it's quite easy to grade it up. So, right. I'm cutting off all my little ends, my tails. There we go. And now I'm going to do some pressing. So that means, Coco, you need to not... You might have to move, darling. She's not interested, is she? Oh, where can I put this so that you can see what I'm doing? Coco. Hey? I can't really want everyone to see you. You're not. Oh. No. She's literally there. Let's just... There you go, guys. Now you can see her. Right, we're going to press those seams open. Coco's just staring at you. Problem we're going to have is that we're probably going to end up pressing something annoying on the other side, because I don't have a sleeve arm If you had a sleeve arm, I would use that, just slot that in here. Hey. I'm trying to not be too heavy with the iron so that if I am accidentally ironing something on the other side, I'm not ironing it too hard. You can always come back and iron this again once I've flipped it over. Oh, that's fluky. It pressed it open one part, most of that seam. Wow. You getting a facial, Coco? Do be careful because it is hot. Oh, now I've done that though on that side. Let's get that right. Okay, one done. Let's do the other one. Okay. No. I need to get your bell. We're going to get a bell for her collar so that she doesn't, the birds and things know she's coming. Ooh. You're learning to sew, Coco. Ooh, there we go. That's done. Right. So, sorry Coco, but you're coming out of shot now. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to turn one of the legs inside, right side round, and then we're going to drop it into the other leg. This is one of the few methods of how to sew trousers up. There's all sorts of ways you can do it. But we find this is, certainly for this pattern, it's the easiest. So I'm going to line up my seams there, which is my inside leg seams, so make sure that they're aligned. Pin. And then make sure those notches are aligned there. Hey, Coco. We're chopping the head off, aren't we? Oh well. Better that you're seeing what my hands are doing than what the top of my head is doing. And then that bit there, and that bit there, oops, and then on here. Okay, so it looks like that. Okay, and so we're now just going to, with our centimetre seam allowance, sew all the way around there, starting at the top of the crotch seam, going all the way around and finishing at the other. Fiddly, just make sure at this point when you hit the seam that the seam is staying pressed open, and if you need to pop the needle in, lift up the presser foot and tuck that seam allowance under, just take your time to do that. Done. Trimmy, trimmy, trimmy. Get rid of those threads. Oops. Okay, right. Now we're going to go on to the waistband. So what we're going to do with the waistband is we're going to take the two short ends and we're going to place them right sides together. And there's a notch in the middle there to make sure, help you line things up. So, oh, I haven't pressed that seam, have I? I need to do that. Remind me to do that if I forget. before I attach the waistband. Okay, so we now sew that with a 1 centimetre seam allowance. Okay, we need to move this, don't we? Oh. Hi Coco, it's your time in the limelight again. Right, I've brought these over, guys, so I don't forget to iron those. So what we're going to do now is we need to press the seam open of our waistband. So we'll pop that like that on the ironing board, and then we just press that seam open. I think I have said it, but in case I haven't, you need to use cotton jersey for this pattern. You can't use viscose jersey, but you could also use French terry, the fabric that I'm wearing. This is the Bilberry T-shirt, by the way, that we made together on Tuesday. Or you could also use a very lightweight Roma Ponte as well, if you wanted them to be extra warm and snuggly for them. So now, what I'm doing is I'm placing it wrong sides together and folding it on half lengthways. And it is being a little bit fiddly. I wonder actually, sorry Coco, I'm just going to move you back. And I'm just going to slot that on there. It'll be easier, I think, because what I'm going to do is press that flat and get that there, that fold line on the waistband crisp, so that will help it sit better, so that when we pin it onto the trousers it behaves a little bit more. That's better, right? So that's our waistband. Okay, and now I'll press these. This is going to be a bit of a challenge. Let's slot it on here. You won't probably be able to press up all the way into the crotch, but certainly at the front and at the back you should be able to get into that seam. There we go. Fab. Let's turn that back. Oops. Okay, so now little tangerine trousers are taking shape. So I'm just going to find the back, that's that side, because that has got the 2 pair of notches in the crotch seam. And I'm going to slot this over, so slotting the waistband over the top. And I'm going to line up the seam on the waistband with the seam at the back of the trousers. And then make sure that all my seam allowances are pressed open. And I will often find it easy just to pin them either side of the seam so that they stay open. Okay, how are we doing for time? We've got about 10 minutes left, that's fine. So all we have to do after this, guys, is we just have to, sorry, I should just say I'm just letting that next seam lines up with a notch. There it should be, the waistband should be a bit smaller than the top of the trousers, because it needs to pull in and hold up, otherwise they'll be falling down. So you might find that you need to just start to ease a little bit. So that's stretching the waistband more so than the trousers. That's fine. We've also got a little notch there that lines up with that side seam there. So So the only one that you don't have a notch for is the centre front seam. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to stitch that on, centimetre seam allowance again. And I will start at the back. Oh, here she comes. Hi Coco, thank you for joining us. Ouch, just stabbed myself with a pin. Take it in sections, guys, because it will curl the edge of this fabric, and so we don't want to go off on a bit of a weird angle. You want to make sure that your seams are still staying pressed open. Even if you've pressed them and pinned them like that, they can still tuck back under. So yeah, I just kind of do it section by section, checking the little section that I'm about to sew. It's usually about 2 inches at a time is in doing what it should be. Taking the pins out as I get to them, and those fingers there are holding a seam open. That's why I'm pressing down at that point. And when we get back to the beginning, I'm going to overlap and just reverse. So you don't need to reverse at the beginning because you're going to go back over it and secure it at the end. Okay, now they're very, very close to being finished. So now it's a bit of a challenge. So they're so little, I think we need to turn them inside out. And we need to press them, the seam allowance down towards the trousers. Why is it in the way? Just slotting them onto the ironing board helps a lot. Oof. Make sure you've got lots of nice steam in your iron. Okay, so like that. And now I'm just going to press up the little hems as well. Okay, I'm pressing these up by about 1.5 centimetres, but it's probably meant to be 1 centimetre. I should have checked really, but when I was lengthening them, that's what I allowed for hem allowance for Jazzy. Oops. So, it doesn't really matter. Centimetre or 1.5 centimetres. Okay, so these are so little. Oh, that was even tiny for a wrist on an adult. So we're not going to be able to, there's no point in taking this off because you're going to have to stretch too much. So I'm going to push that bit away, get that little section under. Sewing at 1 centimetre seam allowance here. Obviously if you turn them up by 1 centimetre, then you'll need to sew with a slightly less seam allowance. So it's not really a seam allowance, is it? It's basically the fold of the bottom of the hem is on the number 10. So I'm sewing 1 centimetre up from there. And I'm just doing it a little section at a time. So I'm doing that little bit, and then I stop and I pull it round a little bit, and I'm making sure that this here isn't catching from the other side. Keeping my seam pressed open when I get to the other seam. And then again, just pulling it round. Pulling it round. and then reversing, overlapping and then reversing. And just trim those off. And then I'm just going to do this bit. Oh, that's just make sure that that had folded over when I'd created my hem. So just make sure that's staying in position. So again, starting at a seam, lining up bottom folded edge with 10 and coming around, doing it little bit by little bit. It's almost sewing about 2 centimeters at a time, just under an inch at a time. Okay, overlap, reverse, trim off my threads. Whoops, get those ones there. Okay, that's where can I put that? Over there. Slide him away so he's not in the way. And then I'm just going to give it a final press from the right side. I'm just getting it so that the seams are on the sides as I'm pressing. Certainly don't want to be pressing in crease lines down the middle of these. I mean, that's fine for now. There we go, guys. Some tangerine trousers. We made those in, what, 45 minutes? So they're a really lovely little project to use up your fabric, but also if you are a dressmaker, I think it's really important to do a mixture of projects that are really easy to do and also more involved, because if you're always doing really involved things, I think it kind of gets you a bit like, oh gosh, it's never going to end, this project. So I always like to have, yeah, little quick things to do peppered in with the harder makes as well. Okay. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. Thank you for joining me. Just a reminder again that our donation page is linked below. If you want to donate towards this video and you enjoyed it, please do if you can. You can download the pattern on our website, and we are working at getting our online shop back up and running for physical products for next week, so watch this space. This weekend, I will be doing the extra finishing off Betty dress tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I will also be on the Lisa Comfort Home, at Lisa Comfort Home on Instagram on Sunday for a tea and a chat at 2 o'clock. So if you just want to come on and have a chat, I'll be doing that. So otherwise, I'll be back on Monday and I'll be doing some kids sewing at 1 o'clock and also then some beginner sewing at 2. So yeah, the full schedule is below. Thanks, guys. Have lovely weekends. Bye.